Welcome in. It's ATB at the buzzer. Adam, Rubber Shoes, no Timmy today, no Little Shoes, no Scotty Dukes, and it is Mother Shoes filling in for the fellas today. So Mother Shoes, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Appreciate you being here. I'm getting all sorts of fun feedback here. So I love doing this, don't you? On the YouTubes. Oh, there we go. Okay, I shut it off. All right, we're good. All right, atbshow.com is where you want to go. Check out everything you need there. It's Rubber Shoes rant and wrap up, which you can click on by going to our Instagram account and get to through atbshow.com. Also, you can get to the podcast version of the show, of course, our YouTube channel. And it's all brought to you by AAA Work Trucks, where we have two of the employees of the month on the show tonight. Unbelievable. Pretty happy about that. Mother Shoes, you've worked there for a long time now or no?
Little over a year.
Okay. All right. So that's a good amount of time.
Yeah.
Have they put your face and likeness on a truck yet or no?
No. I'm on the website, so I'm semi-official now, but no truck.
But you don't get a truck yet.
No,
All right.
I don't think that's necessary.
We haven't have we shown the truck on the show, Rubber Shoes? I don't remember. I know you called in from in front of the truck one time, but I don't remember if we actually showed the truck.
Yeah, it's a site.
Yeah, I bet.
So we have a few people that drive for us because we pick up and drop off vehicles from dealerships, etc.
Okay.
And one of the lovely ladies didn't realize it was Bill until just recently.
Yeah. That's funny. So
connection.
People I visit, some of them it had taken a few years. Like I don't go over there like, hey, you see, it's me on the van. I just show up, do whatever, and then some
Bill's
people get it right away. And
super low key. That's what I've heard. Low key is the word.
Yeah.
But do you when you go to work, Rubber Shoes, do you wear like a uniform or are you in a jersey?
No, I'm not in the jersey. I usually wear a polo shirt.
Oh, okay. All right. That would throw me for a loop.
And he did show up when the Celtics were in the finals. You came in and got made fun of.
Why'd you get made fun of?
Well, because I had the matching shoes and the matching socks. Had shorts.
Did the whole deal.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that makes sense that you got made fun of for that. But I mean, a jersey, you can't get made fun of for it. Especially where is it in Lowell? Is it based in Lowell?
Billerica.
Oh, Billerica. Okay. So, you can't be making fun of somebody for a Celtics shirt.
The owners have season tickets to the Celtics. So they're huge.
Oh, okay. All right.
As long as they're fine with it. I don't care what anyone else says.
That's right. Well, we'll get to the Celtics, but we wanted to kick off the show tonight with talk about the Red Sox. They're the only team really in the heat of any sort of activity. Big series coming up against the Yankees this weekend, starting tonight. We're doing this, I know it's live, but we're doing it Thursday night. And the game starts in just over an hour. So, we're 12 or 13 games back. So it's not like we're making up any significant ground, even if we swept the series. So, but before the All-Star break, we see the Yankees 7 times. So, if we had a chance to make up ground, this is the time, right? So what do we think our chances of making up any ground this weekend are?
None.
Yeah.
None.
After
very optimistic.
Against Tampa Bay, the last series is like, they had won 7 series in a row, and then I think they've just lost 3 or 4 in a row.
Yeah. I think you kind of jinxed that, Rubber Shoes, because as soon as you said it on the show, they've started to really not do so good.
Part of the problem is their starting pit. Well, their bullpen has been pretty bad, but part of it is because they've had so many injuries in their starting pitching that they've had to pull people and put them in different spots. And so hopefully Chris Sale comes back next week. Evaldi should be back next week, and Whitlock is close also. So that'll and Michael Walker, he might miss his next start, but he'll be back. After the All-Star break, we should have our regular pitching back, and that'll make the bullpen better. hopefully they go out and grab a guy out there. There's there's some pretty good closers on teams that are not in the playoff hunt that they could go grab.
Mhm.
So hopefully, I really hope they do something. They definitely need to shore up that bullpen with
Mother Shoes, you don't see him as optimistic as
you
Rubber
know,
Shoes
I'm
is.
sitting here and I know that's the angle he was going to play because he's the optimist and I'm
Yeah.
not.
Not, yeah.
But I also think I'm a realist, and if you're looking for Chris Sale as one of your guys who's going to come back and give you something, I just don't think he has it anymore. I really
Now,
don't.
have you been are you one of these people who for like 30 years of your life were a fan of different teams, or are you like Rubber Shoes has a million different teams he's been a fan of, or are you
Not
Boston through and through?
baseball. No, so when I was younger, my brother went to baseball games with my father, and
Yeah.
I went to the Celtics games with my dad.
Oh, okay. All right.
So I wasn't super into baseball until I started dating Bill. At the time, his dad shared season tickets, so we used to go.
Yeah.
So I became, I liked it a lot more.
Right.
I mean, there's teams I don't mind, but as far as baseball, to me, it's Red Sox, and that's
Okay.
it.
The reason I asked is because oftentimes Boston fans are, the most pessimistic among us, and Rubber Shoes has his optimism because he's a fan of 100 different teams. So if one
Because
gets
he
knocked out,
moonlights in other cities.
yeah, other cities, right? I don't know what do you? We haven't talked about your baseball affiliations, Rubber Shoes. What are your?
It's pretty much Red Sox. So back when Dan Duquette was the general manager of the Red Sox, and they let Clemens go, they let Mo Vaughn go. I had a little time that I was a little pissed off. I didn't like the Red Sox, and I liked the Cleveland Indians.
Wait. Are you gonna share the story?
Oh, all right, Mother Shoes. All right, what's going on here?
Shared it
Might
before.
have, but
I don't remember any sort of crazy story.
I was at a game with my brother, my uncle, and my dad, and I had a few pops.
Mm-hmm.
So I went to go use the restroom, and as I was walking back from the restroom, Dan Duquette was walking all by himself, and I was by myself, and I kind of said some things I kind of regret that I said.
What did you say?
I think it might have been like, Dan Duquette, I should fucking kill you. You suck. Something like that. It wasn't very good. Yeah.
Oh my God. How old were you? This was a long time ago, right? 20 years ago, maybe?
My 20s.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Good.
It was
good for you for speaking your mind.
He really, because Clemens and Vaughn were two of my favorite players.
Yeah.
At the time, and where they didn't, the whole thing. It's not about the money, Dale.
Yeah.
With Mo Vaughn thing. I mean,
it's
a little bit the money. These guys will take hometown discounts because they like where they are, but you got to be close. You can't just
of course
expect them to take half to stay here. You got to give them a little bit of what they're worth. I know Clemens was a little different because he had a bad. It was a bad win-loss record his last year with the Red Sox, but he's still a pretty good pitcher. I think the team was just not so good back then. And then when he left, he went to Toronto when he won pretty sure he won a Cy Young up in Toronto.
Yeah.
After
he was very good up there.
So
and then he played for the Yankees, obviously.
When you see the guys leave, and I mean Mo Vaughn, let's see, he went to the Angels, I think, first, and then he went to the Mets, but he ended up getting hurt with the Mets.
Yeah, no, he didn't do that much after.
He fell into the dugout when he was with the Mets and hurt his leg, and I think that was pretty much it.
Didn't he come back on like a one-day contract though with the Red Sox at one point?
Probably. I mean, they love. I mean, Clemens still comes back to Boston.
Yeah,
they love it here.
Well, Clemens' son was it Detroit?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Just here.
Yeah, one of his son.
I didn't know that.
Cody. Is it that
Cody or Corey. It begins with a K. He has 3 sons. They all have first names that begin with a K because he was known for his strikeouts. So he named them all with a K.
I can't believe his wife let him get away with that.
Yeah.
That's almost embarrassing.
Well, I mean, really,
Yeah.
when he
I mean, I guess
provides
she's
all that
living
money and what
pretty
else are
high
you
on the
doing?
hog. Yeah, that's true. That's true.
She
I mean,
gave
she
him
was
something.
she was getting the steroids delivered to her
Yeah,
Right.
true, in her name.
under her
Yeah.
name. So
So do you
I guess-
still feel strongly that Roger Clemens was misfire on Dan Duquette's part, or is it just in the heat of the moment?
it's
Yeah.
it's hard because when some of these guys leave and go to another team, they get some motivation to
Sure.
say, see what you could have had. So I still think it was a really good pitcher. I wanted him to stay, but I think he had a little motivation going to not being signed again by here and went out and that's
Yeah, but-
supposedly when he started doing the steroids.
He pitched for how many more years, Bill?
Oh, I know.
It's
He had
not
to have
like
pitched
he
for
just
like
went up to
8 or 10,
Toronto and
right?
that was it.
Yeah,
Right.
He went to Houston after the
Right.
Yankees.
Right.
So
I don't know,
I think it definitely was.
how big a baseball fan are you, Adam?
I mean, at the time, I was a huge baseball fan.
Yeah.
I don't follow it as closely anymore, but
In general, so the whole steroid era,
yeah.
where McGuire, Sosa that time, Barry Bonds, and so Clemens is part of that.
Right.
And then so once they started doing the testing, A-Rod popped, Manny's popped. They all had Hall of Fame careers before the stuff.
Right.
And I hope all of them, even though I can't stand A-Rod, I still think he definitely belongs in the Hall of Fame. I hope that, but it looks like so I think Bonds, Clemens, and I think there was one other guy that this was their last chance on the ballot. Now they have to wait to go to the Veterans Committee. And I know there's guys in the Veterans Committee that said they'll never let someone in that did it. But
I mean, they haven't let Pete Rose in, so I can't imagine they're going to let these guys in.
well, that's because he's banned by baseball.
Right.
I don't think the Hall of Fame is it's the National Baseball Hall of Fame. I'm not 100% sure, but I don't think it's affiliated with Major League Baseball. Like
Okay.
it's its own.
Oh, that's interesting. I didn't know that.
But I guess the ballots you have to be put on the ballot by Major League Baseball, maybe. But they have other, the broadcasters wing and stuff like that are, voted in, and they're not. So I don't know. I think a lot of the old baseball writers kind of think they're too good to let them in.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
because
Yeah, I
of
don't see.
that.
I don't see him getting it. I don't see any of those guys.
I think
getting in.
Pete Rose will get in once he's passed away.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't think that, or maybe when he's on his deathbed, I don't think that they're gonna allow him in when he can enjoy it.
Yeah. Well,
Think
it's such a.
eventually-
It's so stupid. It's really stupid.
Yeah.
I mean, I get this. I get the steroids thing in a way because, you do have to put an asterisk next to their stats in some way, except for the fact that they were all doing it at that time. You know what I mean?
Right.
So-
That's one of the things I've always said is and as we see Clemens, pitchers were doing it too. So at first they were like, oh, the batters they're at a disadvantage to the pitchers. Well, the pitchers were doing it too. They were all dabbling in something.
right.
So that era, they were all doing it. And as they say, as a Hall of Famer, were you the best in your era?
Right.
You played? And these, Clemens, Bonds, they definitely were the best in their era. They deserve to be in Hall of Fame.
I mean,
with
the NFL doesn't give a damn. I mean, there's probably a million people that are in the Hall of Fame for the NFL that
Yeah.
doing steroids at one point or
Well,
another. So.
oh yeah, definitely that. And one of my things has always been if like that. So it's the character clause in
Right.
the thing but back I always say, I mean, if you look back, if you could be on social media back in the the 20s and 30s and the 60s and 70s when Mantle and DiMaggio and Babe Ruth, all these guys were going around, I'm sure they were doing sketchy things for their time,
I'm sure they were.
So,
probably more sketchy things than these guys
right.
were doing. Yeah. So speaking of baseball players behaving badly, though, just to bring it back to the current Red Sox, have you guys seen the clip of Chris Sale destroying the Worcester Red Sox dugout, or is the clubhouse? Not the
video,
dugout.
but I've heard about it.
Okay,
I saw it. It's
and
hilarious.
You think it's hilarious?
Yeah. Well, you have to. He's a grown-ass man acting like a 10-year-old having a fit in a toy store. I mean, what are you supposed to do?
I wonder if he has to pay for it, though. I think he should have to pay for it.
He already said.
Oh, he did. Okay, good.
Supposedly, the TV didn't work, but he's buying them a new one.
Okay.
Whatever.
Because this business of like these guys in rehab starts, they should be treating these other guys with a lot more respect, and the clubhouse with the more respect, I think.
Well, he bought them dinner. All the players, the staff. He also sprung for dinner.
I think they usually do that. They usually a lot of times that when a major leaguer goes down to the minors to do a rehab, they usually take care of the guys down there while they're there.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, that's good. I think that's how it should be. I mean, these guys are, multi-million-dollar guys in the, I don't know what they get paid at the Worcester Red Sox, but probably not what Chris Sale is making for sure. No. So anyways, he apologized and said that he learned, I did see him interviewed, and he said that he learned not to kick anything with the front of his leg and not to punch anything with his fist. So at least he's, a 30-year-old man or however old he is. And he 33. Knows how old is he? 33?
33.
I think he had a time that he punched something before and he hurt himself.
Well, that's what he said. That's what he was alluding to. Yeah. So anyways, we could have him back, but he's definitely a hothead still. And that start that he had that he was all pissed off about, he did not perform that great in that start. So I don't know if he's our savior coming back. I don't know. I don't think they'll make him move at the
savior. He just has to be good, not great, just good.
I don't even know if he can be that though.
He can.
So did he show that when he came back, when he was it's like we didn't get a trade, but we got someone, when they sold us that.
Yeah, but last year when he came back, he was coming back off of Tommy John surgery, which sometimes it takes a little more than a full year to come back from that 100%. This is just some freak, he cracked his ribs during spring training. So it's not, his arm is fine. It'll be a matter of him just dialing it in. I'm not worried about him coming and having a decent rest of the year. And Eovaldi coming back, Walker showed that he's good. Pivetta has been more good than bad. And Rich Hill, he comes back. Rich Hill's your fifth starter, and he's been doing exactly what you want your fifth starter to do. I'm not worried about their pitching. I am worried about when they go in these funks where their bats just go asleep. That's what they're in right now. They missed Rafael Devers the last two games. He sat out. One was a scheduled day off for rest, but then he ended up missing a second game because he's got a couple lingering issues, like a sore back and a sore hamstring. Nothing major, but they just wanted to give him the extra day off.
But I feel like
they do have like the bottom of their lineup, Dahlback he's
horrible.
He had a decent end of the year last year.
He shouldn't even be on the team, but they don't have anything else.
So lost. The rest of the team, actually lately, it's been the bottom of the lineup. That's been, Franchi Cordero's been doing pretty good. Christian Royal's done good when he's been in there. They're gonna get Kiki Hernandez back at some point, and they're gonna keep Jaron Duran up as their leadoff hitter the rest of the year. So that's a good. Now you have a real fourth or fifth outfielder instead of having Arroyo. Arroyo looks horrible when he plays the outfield. He is not an outfielder.
Bradley Jr.
Jackie Bradley. Well, JBJ, you
You're
can
going to
use
defend him?
at this point. No, but if you bring back Kike, you have Duran and Verdugo. You can use JBJ strictly as a defensive replacement at the end of the game. So that's all they need him for. They don't need to have him bad anymore. I know he's horrible as a hitter, but he is great. He is a great fielder. So you can have him.
Honestly, I've never seen anybody try to twist and turn their way into a positive story about the Red Sox like you are right now, Rubber Shoes. I mean, they've just been terrible.
I know, and
they're not
he's
terrible right now. They were terrible in April.
They were horrible in April. Yes,
they are the leader of the wild card right now. They have the first of the 3 wild cards. So last week we were talking that they were going to have to go up to Toronto to play 3 games. Well, right now, as they sit, if the playoffs started today,
right,
Toronto would be coming to Fenway for 3 games.
Well, that's fine. That's fine, but it's so close that it's ridiculous, and all they have to do is slump for like a week and a half, which is not that far-fetched of something to happen, and they fall way out of it, right? I mean, they're 14 back of the Yankees, and they're tied with the Tampa Bay Rays.
They're not going to get first place. That's unless
no
goes a total slump and all the players.
But Bill,
but they are
terrible
locked
in their
in
division.
for those 3. But they're locked in those 3 wild card spots. You just got to make the playoffs. Look at last year; they made the playoffs. They knocked out Tampa Bay, who was the number 1 team in the AL East last year. They knocked them out in the first round. All you got to do is make the playoffs, and then you have a chance.
I feel like that's what you were telling me about the Bruins too, but and that didn't happen.
Hockey, you have a chance. Hockey is probably the sport that you have the biggest chance if you just make it. Like an eighth seed has won the Stanley Cup championship.
Right.
That's
the Red
about
Sox
the
won.
Playoffs.
Red Sox won the World Series as a wild card team.
You're way.
You're reaching, dude. You're reaching. I gotta say, you're reaching.
All you gotta do is get there. If you can, because you figure.
Oh my.
Regular season. So right now tonight we have Josh Winkowski pitching against the Yankees. We're gonna have.
They don't even know who their starter is on Saturday.
Right. So that's what I'm saying. Like that's now, you have
that seems like a problem. That seems like a problem.
That's this weekend is a problem. But then you get Sale, Eovaldi, Walker, everyone back. Everyone back your line, especially in the playoff series. You only need 3 starters in the playoffs, and then the guys you don't use as starters can be moved to the bullpen. So then your very weak bullpen arms don't even make the roster at that point. So your team gets much stronger when you're in the playoffs. All you need is a chance.
So, Adam, should we order our World Series tickets now? Or
probably, yeah. I mean, sounds like it. I would skip the wild card round and just go right to the World Series.
Just because, so Yankees started out so hot to start the season. They got such a pad that it's going to be hard for them to not win the AL East. But they could go into the playoffs playing horrible, and some other team could be on fire going into the playoffs, and you steamroll them. It's a long season. It's whoever's playing the best at the time of the playoffs. It has nothing to do with the whole season. You just got to get there.
All right. Well, I got to trust you on this, Rubber Shoes. You're following it closer than I am. And I have to say that you have a way of looking at things that makes me think, maybe things aren't so bad in Boston right now. So I like that.
And I'm looking for moves. I definitely want to see some moves. I want to see some moves from Chaim Bloom.
So again, what are you expecting there?
Well, last year they went out and got
Kyle Schwarber. And they were in a better position last year.
I don't think so.
Should have invested in that team last year.
Better this year than it was last year.
Yeah, but we were going into the All-Star break last year. There was a lot of optimism around the team.
Yeah,
there seems to be a lot of pessimism around the team now.
And they crapped the bed after the trade deadline because they were all pissed
that they didn't make any moves.
Nothing.
That's right.
And
you're
I feel crazy.
Like that's just her voice is louder than mine. That's all.
Rubber
Okay.
Shoes, you are an optimistic guy, but I feel like there's other pessimists around, not just on this podcast.
Believe
that
me,
are
I
writing the Red Sox off already.
We're
so.
gonna say realists,
Yeah.
not
Realists. Sorry,
pessimists.
not pessimists. Yes, realists.
well, we have this recorded, and we'll find out who was right at the end of the season.
I guess so. And what's your prediction again? What did you predict on wins?
I think it was 93.
105.
93.
I
Well,
said
they're
they would end
almost-
up
they're
right
about
where they
halfway
were
there.
last year.
they're halfway there, Rubber Shoes, and it's
They
not.
can
We're not
take
even
the
halfway through this
Yeah,
season.
we last night or 2 nights ago was the halfway point.
Oh, they are okay. So we are halfway through. All right.
Yeah.
So they're on pace right now to win 90 games. So
Okay.
you're not that far off. That's not
They
bad.
had
It's a
a
lot better than the
horrible
83 that they're. True.
Yeah.
True. They had a horrible April. That's true. All right. So we have got the Yankees this weekend. We've got I think Tampa Bay the weekend after that. Or I mean
Yankees.
during the week next week, and then we have the Yankees again, which can kind of
And-
get exhausting if you ask me. But
And I believe after the All-Star break, they have, I think this one of those teams also. Let's check the schedule. So they have, so after the All-Star break, they play Toronto. So they have
okay.
just had Tampa. They have New York for 4, Tampa for 4 next week, New York for 3 next weekend, All-Star break, and then come back against Toronto and Cleveland, who is one of those teams that is fighting for the wild card spots. They're, I think, 4 games behind the Red Sox right now.
So
for
would
the-
you agree, ultra optimist, that if this next 2.5 weeks goes badly, it's not looking good?
No, still, as long as they
Still a
don't
chance.
go, if they don't go 0 for 21,
Well, I don't think they're going to go 0 for 21.
No.
But what if they go? I don't know. Because I'm not great at math. Let's say 9 and 13. That's not right. 9 and 12.
yeah,
What if they go
They'll-
9 and 12? They lost three games of ground.
but it all
And
depends
and
on
their
who,
record
what
in
the
the
other team-
in their division is horrible.
Right.
Like, if you say the 9 and 12 that they swept swept Tampa Bay, they would beat Tampa Bay all 4 games, but they lose to the Yankees, then they're going to be right there still.
All right.
If they can play 500 for the next 2 weeks, which they already started off, they lost 2 out of 3 against Tampa. So
That's not
they're in the
500.
hole right now. They're in the hole right now. But if they can end up close to 500 coming out of the All-Star break, they're gonna still be in those wild card spots. And then they got Toronto. They get their pitching lined up to start the second half. If they're
He's not worried.
10,
Not
if
worried.
they're 10
Clearly.
games out of the wild card spot in mid-August, then I'll concede.
Okay. All right. Well, mark it down. It's Thursday, July 7th, and Rubber Shoes is still hot on the trail of 93 wins for the Red Sox and thinks that they're going to finish in a position where they can win the World Series, which could be the 3rd wild card spot. I guess we'll see. All right, let's move on to the Celtics because that's the only. Well, we were going to talk about the NHL too, but let's go to the Celtics next because they made the splash so far. Free agency kicked off last week. Was it 6 o'clock right after our show last week? Rubber Shoes, was it? Or was it? Oh, it was Friday. Friday at 6 o'clock.
Thursday. It was
Thursday
Thursday.
at 6 o'clock. Okay,
Yeah,
day after our show.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh yeah. So that. I thought we had already talked about the
No, we haven't talked about
oh,
the trade.
Malcolm Brogdon, Gallinari. Good. I like it. Now
Yeah.
the whole. Although I can't, sometimes I should just not listen to other sports talk stations because they got some stuff out of Indiana, I guess, about Malcolm Brogdon that he's
basically their version of Marcus
Madonna.
Smart.
but he's also, but no, he's
But
actually
he averages more. He puts up more points than Marcus Smart does.
Correct.
So-
but the point was that he basically if the game comes down to the end, he wants to take the shot. I saw a lot of similarities between what we say about Marcus Smart and what Indiana was trying to say about how they felt about
Well,
him.
did you hear the thing that they were saying yesterday that some guy, I think he was a scout somewhere in the NBA, that he said that Malcolm Brogdon is really good when it's sunny and 75 out.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
The thing is, I think now I'm going to put on my optimist hat because I like the move. I think it adds scoring off the bench. He's definitely a good defender. To me, he's going to have a different role for us than he had for the Pacers, right? He was he was one of their go-to scorers for the Pacers. For us, he's going to be an off the bench guy. So if you pair him with Tatum or Brown, they can play off of each other. You don't have to have Tatum on the floor all the time. You don't have to have Brown on the floor all the time. He's a ball handler. He doesn't turn the ball over. So that's huge because we really struggled with that last year, in the finals, actually all the way through the playoffs. We struggled with turnovers. And the other thing is he can knock down free throws and he's a strong guy. So he's going to get to the line a couple of times, at least towards the end of games, I think, if he's on the floor. So to me, the upside far outweighs the potential downsides of it. I know.
Oh yeah, I like him.
I just looked. So he had two of his worst seasons were with Indiana.
Yeah.
When he was the 1 or the 2 on that team, it was him and Sabonis.
Yeah.
With Milwaukee, when he was a borderline all-star, he was the third piece there.
Right.
That's all we're looking for him to be here. So I agree with you 100%. I love the move. I wanted him when he was a free agent going to Indiana. And the same with Gallinari. I've been wanting him here for years. And and it's nice to see that he was offered more money with Chicago and took less to come to Boston. So that
Which never happens.
Right. He wanted
never get anybody. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I like him too. I think he's a good addition. The thing is now, and the best thing about it, this isn't nothing new that I'm saying, but the best thing about it is that it lengthens our bench.
Yes.
Whereas, and we didn't have to give anything up for it. If we had to lose Pritchard or we had to lose Grant Williams or White for it, that's a problem. But we didn't have to give any of those guys up. I mean, I hate to see Daniel Theis go, but of the 10 guys on the roster, he's the guy I would have picked to send away if we could get something decent in return. And even next year, we gave up a protected first round pick, but we're not going to be that bad next year. So it's not going to be, that big of a problem. Right. Exactly. So
I'd like to see them add a big guy because right now you have Horford and Williams.
Right.
If any, they've had injury past, so they need to get another big guy. And you just moved Derek White and Peyton Pritchard, who played significant time in the playoffs this past year. You just moved them down the bench 2 more spots.
Right.
They're going to be your 8th and 9 guys coming off the bench instead of your 6th and 7th guys. So I love it. I love what they're doing, and I'm a little worried. See, that's the thing. So I listened a lot of negative radio over the last couple days. But they're talking that Jaylen Brown doesn't want to re-sign here after his contract's up. That they should go and get Kevin Durant and use Brown as a piece to do that. So that's probably the only person I would trade him for is to get Durant. But I still would love to see them keep this together. But it sounds like, when you sign Kanye West as your agent, you're probably thinking something different than staying here and making a career with Tatum, being the second fiddle guy.
It's funny because with Brown, I love them together. Obviously, I don't see him as a number 1 guy. I don't care where he goes. I don't see him as a number 1 guy. If he goes to the Nets, give me a break. You're not going to be. You'll be billed as the number 1 guy, but you're not.
Apparently that's what he wants to do.
Yeah. Right now,
I don't know if I buy that though.
you go to Indiana. If he goes to Indiana right now, he's the number one guy. If he goes to OK City, he's the number one guy. Like that's the thing. He might sign with one of these teams that aren't like in the playoff push, aren't even close to a championship, just so he can be the number one guy, which
Maybe.
I think horrible career choice. Because
I mean,
at some point, if you leave here, you don't win a championship, you go for the money and to be the number one guy. Guess what? At the end of the career, what do you end up doing? You start chasing championships. If
Right.
they mean something to you, maybe they don't mean anything to him.
Well,
I mean-
apparently he
All he cares about
keeps
is-
talking about being disrespected here. Apparently that's the common thing that he keeps
Right.
bringing up, is how he was booed when he was drafted, how, he's constantly hearing criticism about his game, and it's apparently a big thing that really irritates him.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, I could see why it would irritate him, but that's part of the gig of playing in Boston, right? I mean, Boston fans are brutal. There's no question about that. But
Well, when
they'll
you turn the
also
ball over a gajillion times in the
right.
finals, you're not.
Yeah, but he was
obviously
also
gonna get
he was our leading scorer in the finals too, though. So I mean, if it wasn't for him, we probably lost that series in 5 games.
that
honestly.
I loved him in the finals. He was the only guy. Well, not between him and Tatum, because
Yeah.
Horford showed something, Williams showed something, but I think out of your 2 main players, Tatum disappeared,
Right.
and Brown showed the fight and that he really wanted it. So I came away. I've always liked Jaylen Brown, but I don't know. This year he was. Oh no, this year I was with it. It was Tatum that I kept waiting to show something, and he showed it for a time, but he went away in the finals. That's for sure.
This is funny. Like, I would not give up Brown for Durant. I just wouldn't. I mean, 5 years ago, I absolutely would have,
Yeah.
obviously. But right now, Durant's towards the end of. I'm not saying he doesn't have any life left in his legs, but he's towards the end of his career. Brown is just starting. He's gotten us, him and Tatum and the rest of the team have gotten us to 4 Eastern Conference Finals, 1 finals appearance. Like, what more are we asking for? I mean, I know we're asking for Banner 18, but like, what us outside of Banner 18, which only one team gets every year, what are we asking
Yeah,
for
but-
from these guys?
But if you think or are under the impression that he does not want to stay and is not going to re-sign, wouldn't you get Durant for him?
Yes, if I knew definitively that he wanted to get out, sure, I
So
would.
apparently that's what is happening is that they are starting to feel that it's not going to happen.
Who are starting it? The Celtics are,
Well,
or the
okay,
fans?
So because I also listen to sports radio, there
Okay.
was a story. I don't know how familiar you are with past Patriots players.
Yeah, sure.
Jermaine Wiggins,
Yep.
he does a morning show on EI.
Right.
He apparently said the other day that he ran into Jaylen Brown at some vape shop or hookah place or whatever the
For God's
whatever.
sakes. Yeah.
And they had a discussion, and the discussion was he does not want to stay in Boston
Interesting.
because
Well-
he feels the disrespect here and that he's not whatever loved enough, or he's not planning on staying. He's planning on leaving to go someplace where he can be that person, the number one man.
It's so crazy because if you think about it, it's such a different world, obviously, in the NBA than it's been even in the last, 10 years or so. But even going back to the heyday of the Magic Bird, thing, it's like, I look at okay, James Worthy, just use the Lakers just for argument's sake. James Worthy was a good, he was more than a role player. I mean, the guy's a Hall of Famer, and he had, I'm sure they had their differences, whatever. And we don't, sort of history glosses over those differences. But like, if he had left, they probably don't get to as many finals as they did. Right. And
Right.
to me, like Jaylen Brown could be that guy. And when you think, of course, you think of Magic, is the Lakers were Magic's team, but you don't mention the Lakers without Kareem, without Worthy, without some of these other guys. And the Celtics could be that. I just feel I have such a good feeling about their future if he sticks around. it would be such a shame if he left. And, especially if the fans had anything to do with it, it would be awful.
But Adam, on a whole, the NBA is so much different.
Oh, no,
Yeah.
I know.
These
Yeah.
guys are-
Yeah.
Before, when you watched it in the 80s, it was a true team. These
Right.
guys didn't try to form super teams. Well, my friend plays over here, so I'm going to leave and go there, and this one's going to come with us, and we're going to get this team, and they didn't have those.
Yeah.
They
Right.
didn't
No, I know.
have these guys who had to get out and go someplace to play with their buddy.
Yeah.
Now they force their way. Look at Harden. He forced his way out of Houston. People thought he was wearing a fat suit to make it look like he was out of shape. I mean,
That's
it's
true.
ridiculous.
I know. It is ridiculous. And it doesn't work either. That's the thing. It
No.
doesn't work. I mean, the only teams that can't even think of a team that it's worked for. I mean,
Well,
can you guys think?
wasn't
LeBron-
Golden State the first one?
Well, they weren't really a
'Cause
super
Durant
team though.
left
No.
and went there.
Well, Durant left there once, but they were already a good
They
team.
were a
before he-
73 win team before he came.
Durant
Yeah.
went there to win a championship.
Correct.
But LeBron went to Miami with Bosh and Wade.
I guess that did work. Okay. Yeah.
But that
One,
would
Yeah.
be it.
Two.
But they won. How many rings did they win? 2?
I think 2.
Okay. And then the other big 3 of this era was the Celtics in 08, right?
Yep.
The other big 3 that won. So
And
3
that was-
championships in like 20
But that
years.
was trades. That wasn't
Yeah,
even
that-
commanding.
Right.
Right.
exact,
No,
you
you're
know.
right. It's a little bit different.
Actually, Kevin Garnett didn't even want to come here.
Right. That's true. So I don't know. I would hate to see Brown leave. I love Jaylen Brown. I think he does a lot of good in the community. I think he gets a little bit better at ball handling, ball security. I think he's an all-star again. He was an all-star 2 years ago. He'll be back on that stage again. I'm sure of it. Once, and they won't be dealing with the COVID stuff probably next year. Hopefully next year they won't be dealing with that. And that was sort of a big piece of why they were not that great at the beginning of the season, because people were in and out and injured and COVID list and all that stuff. So I would hate to see him go. I do think, I think you make a good point about, if he's disgruntled, wouldn't you trade him for KD? And I would. I probably would if he really is saying I want to get out of here. Because then he's not going to play. He's not going to play hard. So the only thing is, so we have to lock him up for an extension, or he's up for an extension. Him and Grant Williams are up for extensions in early October, I think. So that will give us a real clear picture as to whether or not they're going to hold this team together. Or, the ownership has said they'll go way over the luxury tax. And obviously they've proven that with the Brogdon signing. So we'll see, we'll see. I just hope that Jaylen Brown sticks around. I would hate to see, they add these pieces and then all of a sudden he's disgruntled and he has to go.
Well, I
So,
think the problem too is he's now associated himself with Kanye West.
yeah.
That is never
Yeah, it's a little
seems to work
dysfunctional.
out for a lot of other people.
The cat has signed with Donda West Marketing, I think, right?
Yeah.
What's the cat's name again?
Jingle.
Jingle?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
We got her right before Christmas.
Oh, so she's young.
Yeah. Well,
She's
not
No,
this,
no, not this Christmas.
when we got her. That's why
Oh, does she have a sibling named Jangle?
No.
There's only
No.
one.
Yeah.
Oh, only one cat. Okay.
Only one kid, only one cat.
That's
Wow.
smart. That was smart to keep it that way. I have 2 kids.
It's easy to keep track.
That pushes you over the edge.
Yeah.
All right. Before we go, we got to talk about the NHL a little bit. Mother Shoes, we're going to let you start on this topic because you've got the Bruins t-shirt on and you seem locked and loaded with the names and times and dates of all this business. So what's going on with the NHL? The draft is coming up, I know.
Well, so really it should go to Bill because his main love, the Canadians, are picking number 1.
Boo.
Well, they sucked so bad last year. They have the first pick.
Yeah, they were in the Stanley Cup final 2 years ago. And last year and this year they get the first pick overall. And they haven't come on and said who they're drafting. So it's kind of a
It's very nerve-wracking.
kicker. Yeah, and the Bruins have 0 draft picks in the first round.
They've got nothing.
So
They
I'm
talked about
surprised.
getting in the first round, but I think that dream has died.
Rubber shoes. I'm surprised you didn't wear a Canadians something sort of gear.
I thought
Like you
about
went
it.
with Jordan for some reason. I don't know why.
Yeah, but do you
Just
still put away
great.
your stuff, or do you keep it? So
Yeah, most of my
typically,
hockey stuff's upstairs.
Adam, the rotation, because
Yes.
you can't fit everything in the closet, is when we move out of a season, we
put stuff
that
away.
away, and we bring the new. Yeah.
Was this the summer league jersey then? Like what's going on? That should be put away by now.
Yeah, it's just well, I keep basketball jerseys for the summer because for the tank
Suns up,
top.
guns up.
Oh yeah. Right. Okay. All right. So
So there's
back-
one exception to that rule. If a team wins a championship, they're allowed to be worn all off season.
Are these rules written down somewhere, or is it just all up in your noggin? Yeah. Okay. Oh my God. All right. So do you have your eye on anybody that you want the Canadians to pick?
So the little bit I've read about it, there is no generational talent in this draft. There's just going to be there's a lot of really good talent in the top of the draft, but there's no standout where it's a definite like, oh, you have to take this guy.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna be watching, and once I find out who they pick, I'm gonna try and find out as much as I can about him.
Try and get his jersey. Try and get his
Oh,
No.
game worn
He
skates.
doesn't do that anymore. We don't. If,
Yeah,
if a new
Hall-
player
Hall of
comes
Fame.
along, we don't do a jersey because then
Because you want to retire
then
someday.
they're
Maybe it's
tragically
cheaper.
going to get hurt, or they're going to stink, or something's going to
Oh
happen.
yeah.
and then it's
You don't
Bill's
want to do
fault.
that.
Yeah,
shirt with the
it's,
name on it. But yeah, jerseys I'm sticking with retired and
So you don't have a Chet Holmgren jersey then yet.
no. No, it's like I saw him in the summer league. So I guess it was a scrimmage. They haven't officially started the
Yeah.
summer league games yet. They were just scrimmages. He looks a lot skinnier than I thought I remembered him in college.
I know he's
like,
super
oh.
skinny.
Like he's gonna put some size on. He's gonna get bounced around in the NBA.
I mean, even KD, like if you looked at them side by side, KD is a skinny guy, but
Yeah,
he's got muscle on him. You know, this kid's got nothing on him. So it'll be
he's gonna
interesting
have
to see what
work
happens
out
with him.
Mac Jones now.
yeah. So
Oh
we're-
yeah, we didn't even talk
phenomenal.
about Mac Jones. Yeah, I mean Mac Jones. He's looking good today. Good
Yeah.
these days, isn't he?
Yes,
drop the
he's-
Twinkies.
It's all that gritty he's doing.
God.
We'll have plenty of time to talk about the Patriots. Are you guys going down to the Patriots? I know we've talked about
Oh,
this.
actually, so
It's coming up, right? A couple
We're
months, a couple weeks.
yeah, we're actually taking days off right about when they're going to be open to the fans. So
Oh, perfect.
I would definitely go back again. It was a great
Yeah,
time.
That was
Yeah.
fun.
What Mother Shoes? You didn't end up on TV. The rest of the shoes contingent did, but what
Yeah,
happened?
No.
She's exclusively signed to ATB, so she can't
Oh, okay, all right.
show
We're
her
gonna
like.
be careful though. She might be disgruntled by the end of the
Yeah.
season and demand a trade.
Yeah, but when you're watching your husband, well, Tyler wasn't too bad, but when Bill's on not one but two newscasts in the same day, it's a little ridiculous.
You had a lot of good, positive things to say though. Rubber
Yep.
shoes.
Shocker.
Wow.
What did you think he
Ouch.
was going to say? I don't know. I don't believe in Mac Jones.
Yeah, Mac Jones is terrible. He's
Oh,
going to be
he's-
awful this
I
season.
don't know what Bill
We're-
was thinking.
We need to
And
cut.
that
We
have
need to
no
start Cam Newton.
receivers. Oh,
Yeah. All right, I'll let you guys get to the Yankees. The Yankees start, or the Red Sox playing the Yankees. Sorry.
Yeah.
We will be back next week, Wednesday, on the YouTube channel live. So please make sure to check in 5:00 every Wednesday. Of course, today's Thursday, but usually we're on Wednesdays. And go to atbshow.com to check us out. Don't forget the Rubber Shoes rant and wrap up. Each day, every single day, the man does not, he's like the postal service. He does not miss a day. And he's on there telling you all the details you need to know. He'll recap the Red Sox game from tonight. I'm sure of it. And he'll probably have a lot of optimism if they win. A lot more optimism
Oh, yeah.
if they win.
And even if they lose, I'm sure he'll find the bright spot in it.
We didn't have any pitching. There was no pitching. We didn't have any pitching last night.
Well, you get
We
when,
didn't lose by double-digit runs tonight.
you can tell. So you can tell when I'm not too happy because it'll be all negative. I won't say any positive about like this guy went 3 for 4. It'll be, this pitcher did bad. This pitcher did bad. This guy made an error, and that's it. Then I'm on to the next game.
Well, I think that's necessary to move on because the Yankees are. I don't have a great feeling about this weekend. I got to be honest. But there's some realism from you, Rubber Shoes. I like it.
Wow.
Don't forget the rant and wrap up as well as our show is brought to you by AAA Work Trucks. And I believe we will be back with the whole crew next week. Maybe I'm keeping my fingers crossed.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. Okay. All right. ATBshow.com. Thanks for hanging out with us, and we'll catch you next week.